down. And, you know, I had told him when I was over there, I'm like, yo, cats been getting robbed in L.A. and they have. Cats been getting laid down for their jury. And I told him, so I told him,
started back up though.
Yeah, so I told him that, you know, just watch your back and all that, and when you leave, don't wait till the club, you know what I'm saying, end it, like, you know, get out of here a little bit earlier. So he took my advice, he did that, and after that, Sean Kingston got robbed. You know what I'm saying? Because he one of those type of cats that's like, fool, you see Sean Kingston, that's like an easy mark, you know what I'm saying? So Sean Kingston got robbed. We get out the club. 15 minutes later, Sean Kingston called me, bro, that's messed up. You got me robbed. Meek said that you told him that Cats was robbing and that he should go, and then all of a sudden I get robbed, and that's messed up. I said, look, I ain't get you robbed, dog. If you need help getting your jury back or you want to ask some questions, I'll help you. You know what I'm saying? But I said, let me get off the phone with you, call Meek. I called Meek. Meek said, man, I ain't tell that fat nothing. So I said, let me get them both on three-way. Got them both on three-way. Kingston saying, you did tell me. Me saying, you know what I'm saying, I didn't tell you. So I just hung up the phone, bro. I ain't had time to argue with them. I let it go.
The key thing to the whole situation was when a man could call you and tell you word for word what a conversation was between you and somebody else, you know somebody. You know he had a conversation.
And that's what I was saying. Exactly. I'm talking, look, exactly. That's like if I tell you something specifically, right? Just you, and I don't tell nobody else in the world, and then somebody else call me, say exactly what I told you, how you ain't telling? How is it possible that you didn't tell them that?
Now,
you know
what if Meek would have just said, you know what? All I told him was you did warn me to get out the club.
Been 100.
All good. All good.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Chris with The Ignorance is Free. Like always, thank you guys for your continued support. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel. Now, let's talk the game. So, the clip you just heard was of the game doing an interview with The Breakfast Club. They just released this today. Pretty dope interview. If you want to watch it in its entirety, the link is in the description. Now, the reason I chose that clip specifically is because I feel like it's backing up the game's claim to Meek Mill being a snitch. Well, I don't really even want to use the word snitch, all right? But it definitely catches Meek Mill in a lie. Okay, so the game tells Meek, don't stick around until the club closes. Niggas is getting robbed and laid the fuck out in California for their jewelry. Leave early. Meek Mill leaves early. Fast forward later on that night, Sean Kingston gets robbed for his jewelry. So he calls the game and he's like, yo, Meek Mill told me that you told him niggas is getting robbed out here for their jewelry. Yo, you had me set up. So basically, he hangs up on Sean Kingston. He calls Meek. Meek is like, yo, I didn't even talk to this nigga. So then the game calls him on three-way, both of these niggas, calls all three of them, and he's like basically listening to their conversation, which is all bullshit, and he hangs up on them. So the bullshit is this. If you tell your homie something and you don't tell anybody else in the world, it's something very specific, and then you hear the same information from another person, obviously it came from your homie. So basically what I'm trying to say here is the game told Meek Mill specifically, yo, niggas is getting robbed in California, leave early. When Sean Kingston calls the game and he says the exact same words verbatim that the game told to Meek, it's obvious that Sean Kingston got that information from Meek Mill. And Meek Mill is saying, yo, I never even talked to that nigga. So that's why the game is kind of saying, yo, this guy's a fucking liar. And to me, like when this whole thing first started, I was kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really peg the game as, you know, doing something just for publicity, but I mean, his history shows that when it's album time, like, he does tend to get into some drama. He does tend to jump into things at random. So I didn't really put it too far past him. And plus we got a dope ass diss record out of it. Fuck, Pest Control was amazing. So whether it was true or not, I was like, all right, we got some good music. But after kind of hearing this and then, you know, just using logic, kind of makes sense. So I don't know if I would call Meek Mill a snitch or a rat, but he's definitely a fucking liar, okay? And at the end of the clip, you could see Angela Yee is like, yo, if Meek would have just told you that he told Sean Kingston, hey, the game told me niggas is getting robbed, you need to leave early. You could see Wack in the game. They're like, yeah, that would have been all good. But he didn't do that. Instead, he lied. He basically played like, yo, I didn't talk to that nigga at all. So obviously, when you catch somebody in a lie, it kind of destroys their credibility with anything else they have to say about that situation. You know what I'm saying? So when the whole thing happens with the cops showing up at his door and everything, I mean, like, there ain't no paperwork or anything like that, but you're almost inclined to just believe the game because Meek Mill already lied. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an interesting story the way it's playing out. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think anyone's getting fucking locked up for this. So I hope that the diss records keep coming and that it stays on wax because, Pest Control bodied Meek. I'm sorry if you're a Meek Mill fan. I did like the Ooh remix that they did, that Meek did, but Pest Control just bodied them. So I want more music, basically. So, that's my opinion. Like I always say, I certainly want to hear yours. Let me know what you guys think about this situation. Do you think Meek Mill lied? And, if he did lie, do you see any point in that? Like, don't you think he should have just said the truth? Like, it's not like Meek Mill was doing anything wrong. All he could have did was just give Sean Kingston the heads up the same way that the game gave him the heads up. So again, let me know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments. Make sure you like, absolutely subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at theignoranceizfree with a Z and on Twitter at I'm Chris Green. I'm out.